Hello everyone, welcome back to 2 Point Campus. I forgot what I was going to say there, but I probably need a bit more education. So it's a good job we're here in Spiffinmore, where education is the name of the game. So we're putting in a few more items that I removed during our redevelopment. So obviously the runestone here is going back in, and we are once again just answering student requests. They want a student union party. I can't afford it because I don't have the cash, but you know, we've got things that are coming in now, and I'm pretty happy with how things are going, and we should be able to resolve these 2-star objectives pretty quickly. We've already got enough students on campus, and everything else is just going to happen residually. Our main aim is going to be to upgrade our attractiveness rating. So we're going to just do that by answering student demand and putting in a few things that make this place a lot more pretty. I have 2 different attractiveness ratings, which I've just noticed, which is really strange. I've got a 70% on one, and then the Ministry of Education objective is 59%. So I don't really understand what's going on here. We have to hit 75% for the 2-star objectives, but only 70% for this Ministry of Education. But both of them read differently. What's going on here? Right, what I've done anyway is I have made a forest in the area that we've not yet developed. That has sorted out the Ministry of Education's task and gotten us up to like 69-68%. It's dropping down now on our overall 2-star objectives. We've got 2 pastoral issues done, and again, these are just going to happen every now and then. The issue that we have with them is the happier our students are, the less pastoral issues that they're going to have. So I imagine this is going to be a little bit of a grind and probably something that's going to build up long term. The next step then is we're going to put in a couple of hedges. We've had some new fences added in a latest patch from the dev team, and you can see here there's some nice ones. I like these castle walls, but I'm going to use the planter wall and hope that that makes things look a lot prettier here. So we're going to put that all the way around our new building here, and then I'm going to fill it in with some extra bits and pieces. Taking me a long time to get this one done, so we do have a few requests that we're going to need to fulfill once we finally put down these planters, but I'm hoping that that's going to boost our attractiveness rating. Now, this fluctuates as well whenever we have storms that are brought down by our arch nemesis, evil wizard witch, whoever she was called. So every now and then that does drop until our janitors can clean up the premises. We have a gothic bookcase here, which we put in over by our nice dormitories here, and we could put these in the dorms. I am going to start experimenting with different dorm sizes and how they will bring in money. So that's going to be something that I'll talk about and maybe do a separate episode on as kind of like a midweek thing in between different, like different episodes. I haven't done this actually in 2 Point Hospital because it's an old game and all of the kind of theory crafting's already been done. So I will be doing them for 2 Point Campus. We'll start with our dormitory, and maybe do staff rooms as well, or student lounges. And looking over here, it's just a few more trees to fill in, and obviously our interiors we could do with sprucing them up and making them a lot more attractive. A couple of trees just to go in here, and that should finish it all off. Student lounge party, let's put that in. And the life munchers have arrived again. I love that. Life munchers as opposed to death eaters. Really nice little touch. And let's have a look at what we can put in. Put a couple of plants. Oh, yeah, they need to be outside, so we'll do interior stuff instead. Let's have a look. Where are we? Decorative. I guess we can put in some plants, yucca, and then a few other bits and pieces all over the place. I think we can change the colours of the plant pots here, but I'm just going to leave them as the basic terracotta ones. Can we put in our cheesy goblet? There we go. That's nice. Obviously, got to be aware of our cache while we're doing this. We've got the lockers in, but they don't actually add anything like decorative to the area, which is strange because they're supposed to increase attractiveness. Maybe they increase attractiveness when they're in a room as part of like a prestige rating. But for now, what I'll do is I'll put a poster behind it so that it looks like it's increasing the attractiveness rating. Let's put that in. There we go. There, now it looks like the lockers have increased our attractiveness rating. And then we'll put in the usual kind of like thematic bump, like all of the little spell like posters and stuff like that, but also we'll flesh it out with a couple of like maps and generic posters to make everything look a little bit prettier. Now I could put in some like statuettes and stuff here just to improve the attractiveness of the main like corridor, but I don't think it's going to add too much to it. So I think moving forward, what's going to be really good is if I reduce the corridor size, I'll be able to have more attractiveness down the corridors throughout. So if we just have kind of like a 2 square corridor going through there, and then it opens out into a larger kind of quad where students can sit around and have conversations and have food and stuff, and then we can put in like things like this, the Pearl of Wisdom, which I'm going to put outside here. We'll put one next to this door, and then on the other side, just to make things prettier either side of it, and then we'll put our Fountain of Knowledge in. I'll put it there to cover up the the dirt on the floor, and then we can do a little bit more in this building. Again, I'll probably put down a few posters and stuff. I would get this pillar in, but again, that doesn't seem to improve the attractiveness either. So that's very strange. I thought they'd be pretty nice to see, and it would be great to have them working so that they did improve the effectiveness in some way. But I guess it all improves our campus level. Who knows? Who knows? There's lots to kind of discover here still by the looks of things. And it's interesting what actually does improve the decorative level of things and what doesn't. Pictures seem to be very good here. Even though they don't add much to a prestige rating of a room, they're good at decorating your hallways and outside areas. We are at the end of a year now, so let's see what awards we've won. We've just peaked at our 75% attractiveness rating, which is really nice. The students on campus has dropped because we've got graduates. It looks like 31 graduates. We'll see if that is the case when we finally get our awards coming in. Here we go, year 6. What have we done? 31 graduates as expected, 49 continue with 100% pass rate, Queen of Clubs, Rising Staff, Teacher of the Year, Campus of the Year. Oh, amazing. What a good year we've had. Well done, everybody. So we can also upgrade our machines and stuff within our rooms, and we just need to see what we've got coming in. We need to build a new potions room. That's the spells room, so it's that potions room there that we need to put in place. And I guess that means we're going to have to expand into our new area and build a new building because we don't have any space left here, so we're going to go ahead and do that. That should do us for now. Great, we've got our new potions room in a brand new complex which we have room to expand and probably will do sooner rather than later. We're going to maybe upgrade both of our courses. They're at level, we can get 1 to level 4 and 2 to level 3, so I'll leave them at level 3. And then we can just slowly upgrade. I've found upgrading at a slower rate is a much better use of your time within this game than just like blasting through those upgrade points when you get them. Let's have a look at our dormitories. They're looking pretty good at the moment because we've not had our new students move in and we're not quite ready to start the new year. Oh look, it's this that was causing that warning. Right. But that's been there for ages, and I've finally just worked out what it is. Right, we're going to start our new academic year. We have 93 students on campus, which means it's time for some more dormitories, I think. Let's have a look at where we can put them in. They're just starting to increase in the amount of students assigned, and as they do, the accommodation rating drops as well. That's definitely going to be a one I'm looking forward to playing around with and kind of crafting the perfect dormitory. Do we need a really large one, or is a small one good enough, and having multiple ones of those? Certainly makes it a lot easier to kind of fit things in, I guess. But yeah, that's worth thinking about. We'll put some more plants in here just to boost the attractiveness rating back up, because what I really want to do is I want to keep that at that 75% mark as much as possible. So whenever I do expand, I'll then take them all out and put them back in again. It's a bit of a tedious process, but it keeps us at most of our objectives complete, because all we're going to have to do is solve these pastoral issues, which I imagine, if our students are happy, aren't going to crop up as much as I've already said. So that's something that we do need to be aware of, and just make sure that we're keeping on top of those things when they come in. I'm just hoping that I have a lot of aggressive students, I think it was, who cause issues for our current students on the campus. Maybe we need to force them into more social situations to cause pastoral issues. I don't really know how they work and how they happen, but it's definitely worth keeping track of, because this objective is slowing down a little bit. when we first started and the attractiveness rating was pretty low and it seemed like the students weren't entertained well. We got quite a few. But now it's really slowed down, so I imagine this might take a couple more years to complete, and we'll be powering through those, because if I'm not doing much on the campus, there's not a great point in me showing you what's going on. So I'll maybe play through a year and then come back and do an update or something. We'll just see how that all kind of takes hold. We have resolved another one as I've been talking here though, so that's 13 of 20. We've only got 7 left to go, and we can upgrade most of our rooms now. We're going to schedule some events in our lecture theatre. I think we can do our horror film. What does that do? It's energy and 20% happiness, which is good. I'm not sure how a horror film would leave you feeling energized, but I'll take that. I thought it would like pump you full of adrenaline like the action film and make you move a bit faster, like as if you're being chased by whoever was in the horror film. But if we can have our students come in, watch the horror film for the boost to energy, then watch the action film for the boost to speed, and then the sci-fi film for a boost to their learning rate, I think that would be a really good thing to do. Although I don't know how, I mean, I'm sure a student would enjoy a movie marathon. I remember when I was at university, I went and did a Lord of the Rings marathon at one of my cinemas, and that was a good 9.5 hours or something. And I think I did it in preparation to see the first Hobbit film. So maybe it wasn't at university, because I was at university a long time ago. But I can't remember when these films came out. I never saw the Hobbit at the end. I just went home and went to bed. I think I probably made the right decision. Anyway, the one thing that's bothering me though, in the student list, you can't filter by whether or not a student has a pastoral issue. That would be a really nice thing to add, because you can then find the students that have pastoral issues and send them immediately to pastoral care. And the same sort of thing for any students who have injuries or need to go to the medical department or are struggling and have a private tuition that you could send them to. I think those extra things, if they are looking to expand the UI in a more efficient way, like they've already done with the staff assignments, I think that would be a really nice call, seeing the amount of students that you've got who are having any of these issues. And that would be a really nice thing to kind of add in, I think. So we're going to add, I've just grabbed a research trained teacher there. They're going to go in and become our chief researcher. So what we're going to do is, they were already skilled in wizardry. I'm going to train them up in dark art, or whatever it was. They're trained in dark art, so I'm going to move them and train them in wizardry as well. And then they will just be our chief researcher. They can go in between all of the research projects we have available for those different things. Because as I learned recently, your research projects have to have people who are trained in a specific course. We learned that at Fluffbro when things were getting really tough, so we're just going to train this one in wizardry now. And then they can do all of the research projects we have at our disposal, which at the moment I think we've managed most of our upgrades that we have available to us on this campus. Obviously what we could do is we could take on some new courses and upgrade those rooms as well, but for the time being we're going to just do what we've got here, and then we'll unlock all of the kudosh and finance-based research tasks that we can just chip away at. What's more important is upgrading the actual tools and machinery in these course rooms. And I think that's where we're at. We've got one who's here at a risk of failing, as they've still not done their library orientation. And we're in the 4th month of the year, so that's not a good student, in my opinion. Maybe they've gone to the movie marathon, and that's what's been a problem. But you can see there, the 25% learning power has proven very effective. We've got a load of students in there now who've probably just come off the bat of watching a film or speaking to a teacher who has inspirational speaking. I think we've got a couple of those on campus now. Alright, now that we've expanded our building here, we're going to get rid of these trees, which obviously is going to affect our attractiveness rating, but we'll boost that up as we decorate the new interior that we have here. But that is just going to allow us to expand into our next phase of development for our new year. I'm going to move the door so that it's down here, and then that'll give us a little bit more decorative options and also allow us to fill out that side of the room as well. And you can see all of the students now running to their new door. They must all be late for a class. Look at them all. Absolutely. Or maybe that's because they've been to that film and it's boosted their movement speed. It's funny when you start to notice the things. And then I've just moved their classroom so they're all legging it in and out. Oh no, what have I done? Right, we did have a few issues cropping up medically. So we've got a lot of queues in there, and we've had to put in a brand new medical area. And yeah, it would be good if we could have what we now have. I think we do have one in each building now. Oh, apart from where the dorms are. So we do have one in all of our like auxiliary buildings where all of the teaching actually happens, but nothing in the area where the dorms are. So that might be something that we need to sort out at a future date. But right now, I think we're pretty happy with things. We're going to move in some toilets and showers. We've got some rewards from our career goals to pick up there as well, which will bring in a nice healthy kudos bonus. A warlock poster has been requested. We will put that in. And I really like the request system, actually. I think that's a really nice touch. We didn't have that in 2 Point Hospital, so it's a good addition to the game where a student will just be like, hey, I'd like this put in, and you can put it in somewhere. Obviously, it needs to be accessible. There's no good putting a warlock poster in the toilet. Not that you can actually do that, but, you know, when a student wants to go and look at something, they will actively seek it out, which kind of encourages you to have multiple versions of the same sort of thing within the actual campus. I don't know if just having it present helps, or they actually have to physically go up and look at it. Anyway, we're duplicating this student lounge, and we've been requested to put in a winged serpent, or a winged serpent, if you want to get all medieval about this, or medieval about this. I don't know what I'm doing with my jokes today. These aren't even jokes. I don't do jokes. I'm not a particularly funny person. I just think I do funny shit sometimes. We're selling off all of our junk here, and it is the end of the year. How did we do? We got $91,000 in the bank. Now, I have to say, financially, this has been a much easier to manage process, and I think that's just because I've been changing the way that I do things. Apart from now, where things are about to get a little bit out of hand, I think, because I don't want to build brand new... Oh, okay, I can't build brand new rooms. I've got to go through this now. What did we win? Queen of Clubs, 2 clubs. We've got 4 clubs. What's going on here? Maybe the students can't access some of the club sign-ups. That's difficult. Right, we won 5 awards anyway, and I'm doing a little bit of development here. We do need another lecture theatre, another potions room, another spells room, and to hire a brand new wizardry teacher. So, these lecture theatres, actually, I didn't do anything really for the prestige in them. They're only at level 4, and that's literally because I threw a plant in there when I was doing some decorating. So, we need to maybe boost those in the future. And then we've got to put down our new potions room. Now, it can fit there. It can also... It's just creating odd corridors, which I don't necessarily mind, but we're gonna pull everything else in first. So this staff room we can put in... Where's it going to fit? It'll fit there. Oh, that means I've made the other side of this building 1 square longer than the other one. So that's good to know. But if I now put this potions room down there, or we put it here, is there enough space to squeeze the staff room in that side bit on the opposite road? There is, yeah, there is. There's a 3 square gap there. So we'll move our staff room here over next to those rooms and just shift the door up a little bit. That's it. Right, wonderful. Okay, that's a much better configuration. And then I've got lots of space there that I can put new stuff in. I'm going to move my spells room into here. And what I'll do is, because I don't really like the odd design of this room, we're going to expand the wall there, and then we will add another wall going down through that little gap that's been left as the wall cuts in. So we'll add in an extra little slice of room there, and that's perfect. Obviously, they haven't been decorated, so we'll need to do that as well. But for now, I'm just going to hire my new teacher and start my new year. And yeah, we're going to just jump through the year to see if we can resolve our pastoral issues. I don't imagine I'm going to be doing much more development outside of potentially putting in a few more dormitories, which I will explain to you if I end up doing that, because you can see we're getting up to 10 now. So we're going to add some more dormitories in, and we'll just try and fit them into this area as best we can. Obviously, good to have them here because the student lounge is right next to it. So we're almost at the halfway point of year 8, and there hasn't been a great deal of development. I can see that my student lounge, my student union, where there's a gig on at the moment, is full. So we may need to consider adding in a second student union, just so that that's not a capacity. But really not a lot more has happened. We've got more dormitories in. I'm duplicating this room now, and it could be worth having a larger blueprint student... Oh, it was a student lounge that Oh, they were having a party there. Yeah. So... hang on, that means we've got 2 student lounges in here now. Oh, well, never mind. If that helps, that helps. Right, we are almost at the end of our 2-star objectives. We are solving our final pastoral issue right now in this room, and that'll be us done for our 2-star objectives. There we go, it's complete. And it really was. We unlocked Alchemical Friendship, who are a band, I'm guessing a like wizardry-based band, so we'll probably getting requests in for them. As you can see, we still have a lot of medical issues to deal with. We now have the old monthly profit, average staff happiness, and A+ grade students graduating. I can't believe we're dealing with monthly profit again, but based on our experience from Fluffborough, I think we know how to do this now, and it's probably going to be an idea to maybe add an extra course, potentially general knowledge, because that'll get the A+ grade students graduating done very quickly as well. But for now, I'm just going to focus on the courses that we have here, and we'll definitely consider that, because I think we can get this 50 grand done very quickly. I'm going to increase all of our prices, so we'll have large tuition fees. The students are happy enough, so it's not really going to be an issue. I know that they'll come here unhappy because they're paying a lot for their education, but in general they seem to be happy throughout the campus. We don't have a lot of like threats to drop out. I've not had that for a long time, so they're obviously happy with everything we've got going on. And we need to unlock a few career goals here, including Best Teacher Awards. Yeah, excellent. Right then, so we're pretty good. We're going to bring in another assistant trained in pastoral care just to reduce some of the weight. Funny enough, now that we've completed that as an objective, we seem to be getting requests for pastoral care, so that's pretty frustrating, but you know, that's life. And we'll upgrade our course next year as well. That's really good. Now, our monthly profit shouldn't take us long, like I say, but again, you'll find that if you're playing this game as well, a lot of stuff will just happen over time. So for the sake of a playthrough, it's not really worth me showing you just what goes on over the course of a year unless there's something funny or really entertaining that happens, or I do some sort of big development. But right now, we're just putting in new rooms to keep up with demand, upgrading our machines and training our staff, which is essentially the micromanagement portion of the game, which, you know, that happens in 2 Point Hospital, but it seems to happen a lot more in 2 Point Campus. There's a lot of like reactive gameplay expected of you, which, you know, is fun if you're really into this sort of simulation thing. And I'm sure if I was to do like a long play of this, you'd get to see absolutely everything that goes on, like when I first started creating 2 Point Hospital videos. But I changed the format of these a long time ago, and I'm happy with it. It gives you a nice little snapshot, and if you're playing along and wanting some little tips, you might actually find something within the extended universe of this playthrough, I guess, because the tips just come to me as I'm going. I don't really have any tips-based videos, but I may do some if I like find something that's particularly useful. We are coming up to the end of year, and we've just hit over 50 grand in profit for the month. I knew that was going to happen. That is really good. So I guess if we want to get our A+ students, we'll hold off another year and we'll see how people do. Our average staff happiness does go back up towards the end of the year when the staff aren't so stressed through their teaching duties. We need a new lecture theatre, potions room and a wizardry teacher. So it's probably time for us to buy a new plot, which we can afford because we've got some lovely cash in the bank right now. And then we will be able to continue progressing throughout the year. And I will, once again, I'll talk to you through the little bits of development that I've done, and then it'll just be a case of jumping ahead to the next year, because this is all based on what happens at the end of the year now, completing these objectives. And really, there's not a lot you are going to find out, apart from I'm training people, I'm upgrading my machines, and that's it. So we've duplicated this entire building and removed all of the extra bits and pieces that came with it. You don't duplicate all of the rooms, you just duplicate the building itself and the like chairs, tables, fountains and all of that sort of stuff that's inside it, which is really nice because you can then start immediately building on a new plot. I've put in our potions room a brand new student lounge and our lecture theatre. We're going to drop in a student union here on this side and just fill out the rest of the building with extra walls and stuff. So this is going to be a significantly larger student union that we're going to just tweak a little bit so that it's really useful, basically. And we can get up to 14 students in this one, which means when we have a gig, it's going to be a really nice at capacity kind of space. But I do need to bear in mind that there are probably over 100 students students here now, and we need to make sure there's enough of an activity for all of them to do. We could put a gym in, but I don't know how many students in the Magic College would actually use the gym, so that's something worth thinking about anyway. And I just want to make sure my partition walls are set nice and accurately, and then we'll move and put our dartboard in somewhere. So this is like the pub, and then the gig happens in the next part of the space. Get a bin moved in there, and then we can put in a few other bits and pieces. We will put a romantic table in there, and then a rowdy, like 8-person table on either. So anyone sat down for a nice quiet meal is not going to enjoy it. Maybe I should put a student union in there. That's like a restaurant type thing for the lovers within the campus. We're putting some more dorms in because I'm expecting more students to come in as well. And let's just have a look at what we end up with. There's 7. And that should drop it down to about 5, which will in turn increase the attractiveness. We get a new shower block in. We'll put that down there. And then we can put a little toilet block in right next to it. I think this one should fit in. There's enough space there, isn't there? Yep, perfect. Okay. Yep, we're looking pretty good now. We've got a student union party requested. We will schedule that in. The money's pretty healthy. We just need to make sure that we've got students that are well trained, getting a load of XP and boosting their grades as much as possible, which we can only do by continuing to train our staff, upgrade our rooms, and making sure that there's plenty of stuff available for our students to do. The happier the students are, the better they're going to do in their courses, so we can do that by putting on lots of events and making sure that their needs are tended to as much as possible. One thing I have noticed though is you don't always get a tooltip for a student's needs. You often need to just kind of look on your students' profiles periodically just to make sure that there's no like needs that have come up for them that you aren't fulfilling. And also it could well be because they have a need, but whatever it is that they need is in the opposite end of the campus, so they need to travel all the way to the other end of the campus before they can fulfill it, which is also why it's good to make sure that you have these things throughout your campus. I'm going to put in another staff room here, just so that my staff don't have like a really long distance to travel to get to staff rooms, and then we will move the tables just into that other area where our kiosks are. I don't actually know if they will buy food and then sit down to eat. I think that's more of a conversational thing, but it looks nice when they're all kind of like creating some sort of food court. Now I don't like where that corridor is formed, the really slim one, so we're going to pick this up and just move it over to the other side there, which means we have to move our human hamster wheel. So we'll do that. That's not much of a problem. I just don't like the tiny corridor being where the pastoral care and private tuition room is. That's that hamster wheel put back in place. And again, you could also just have multiple like hamster wheels or multiple like allotments or what have you throughout your campus so that the students don't have to travel so far. If you think about it, we now have a campus that is split in 2, so having an allotment on either side will mean that students can go to the nearest one to fulfill their needs and stuff. And we're looking good for grades. I don't know if we're going to get it this year, but maybe next year, and maybe if we put in a brand new course, i.e. general knowledge, we should do that the year after. We're coming up to the final month of the year, and yeah, we've not really added much more. I have put in a brand new training room, and that has increased learning power from these training monitors and 2 VR machines for our staff, so we can have 2 staff in there training, which is really good actually. It does mean that if you want to do mass training like I used to do in 2 Point Hospital, where you just had desks and you could have 6 or 7 staff training in a small space, you need a large space for these staff members. So that's something to be aware of. Now, let's have a look over here. The Wizardry is a 3-year course, which means we need to have a look over on our students here and see who's doing well in the end of 3rd year. We have 1, 2, 3 A+ grade students, but Dark Arts are only a 2-year course. We've got a lot of A grade students in year 3 of the Wizardry course, so that could be better. But having a look here at our Dark Arts, it looks like we only have an A grade student in Dark Arts at the moment, which means we probably aren't going to get what we want this year. So the appeal of bringing in a general knowledge course to really quickly churn out some A+ graduates, because it's a simple course that people will do very easily and very quickly, especially now that we have a more established campus, we should be able to grind up that A grade in that particular course as quick as possible. Obviously, I will like make some adjustments to the libraries as well, and then we'll be able to put in like the general knowledge bookcase so that they can go to any library on the campus and do the extra like curricular activities there. And we will probably need another medical room because we have a lot of students here who are queuing for medical treatment. Like, if I could just send them all to 2 Point Hospital and then just jump over to my other game and do that, that would be really good. We are at the end of the year anyway. Let's see what we've won. We only had 5, so it was those 3 A+ Wizardry students who graduated. We've got 15 more to get, so I definitely think it's time we added a brand new course. We need another Dark Arts teacher and another Wizardry teacher. The Life Munchers are invading again. Oh, wow. What a great game this is. General Knowledge, let's get it in, and we will upgrade it as well. So that gets us to level 2, and we just need 1 general knowledge teacher. I'm going to hire 2, because if I have 2 general knowledge teachers in, that's going to really share the weight there. This one is trained in research, which means they can help out in any general knowledge research we happen to unlock. But because general knowledge is literally just a kind of a way of improving, you know, they only use the lecture theatres. Our lecture theatres are fully upgraded, which again is going to really help drive the grades on that course up as much as possible. Medical office we can't afford to duplicate right now, but we will do it throughout the year, and we're probably going to need to get in a few more dormitories. And like I've already said, the dormitory experiment is something that I'm definitely going to be doing. I'll probably may even use this campus for it. I might use this campus for it. I think that might be something that I'll do very soon. Maybe in this gap where we have another 2 Point Hospital. So if you are watching the 2 Point Hospital playthrough, Croc and Boosh, which is the final level, that is actually going to be split over 3 episodes, doing the 1, 2 and 3 star objectives. I just thought it would be nice to do a special, and I've not actually done a 3 episode run in 1 level on that for a long time. I think the last one I did was simply because I did not have the time to cut and edit the 2/3 star objective episode, so it ended up being spread out over 3, which actually knocked the episode order out a little bit. Anyway, we are back in here putting a general knowledge bookcase in our library, and we're going to have to move another bookcase somewhere, so I'll just get rid of a generic one, and then we'll put our general knowledge bookcase in place in there. And that is nice and ready for our general knowledge students to come in and do any extra work that they need to. I do have another library, so I'll have to go and do that in... Where is it? Where have you gone? There it is. We'll have to put it in this library as well. So we will just, again, take out that exact same bookcase and put in another one. And I have been thinking about, like, this campus would be ideal to experiment with splitting your courses across different locations, because we have everything is separated by these, like, areas. So what you could do is you could have lecture theatres in this building specifically for one course, then another building you'd have specifically a separate course, and then another building you'd have the further courses. So it's really interesting, and I think the layout for this one has been my favourite one so far. It certainly lends itself to experimenting a lot more with your design and just playing around a little bit more. But I think that's also because I've learned how kind of profit making works in this game now. And it's really important to make your profits early on so that you can do this kind of experimentation as you get into the further years of the game. Like a lot of the other levels, I was kind of just floundering wildly and trying to get a grasp on things. Now over here, the one thing that I'm missing as well is the ability to satisfy multiple staff's pay requests, or like batch increase your staff's pay, which is what I'm planning on doing for increasing our average staff happiness at the end. There doesn't seem to be a way to like boost your staff's wages in one go. And you can also see the really interesting thing from that overlay is actually the staff to student ratio there. I would imagine the higher the staff to student ratio is, the more unhappy your staff get as they have to work harder to train up those students. So this might be a good idea to bring in a load more staff, or just make sure that I'm constantly training staff as well. Is what other reason that we've kind of fallen into a little bit of a trap. We have a load of A+ now at Wizardry Year 3 though, which is really good. But anyway, the trap that I keep falling into is, while my staff are queued up to train, they're also teaching. And if they're spending so much time teaching, their training is going to take so much longer. And it's why over the last few years, a lot of my assistants and janitors have been getting the Rising Star Awards because they've been the ones who've been able to do a lot of training. We haven't actually had an assessment in yet for our general knowledge students, so we can't get a grasp on how well they're doing, but we're regularly making a 50,000 plus profit, which is really good. But I imagine the more we see this objective, the more the profit is going to need to increase throughout the rest of the career mode. So that's something to be aware of, and just making sure every time we do a lesson, or we do a level, sorry, not a lesson, we are learning what it means and the fundamentals of making a profit within this game, which is why I think now is probably a good time to start experimenting with things like our dorms, our staff rooms, our student lounges, and our student unions. The classrooms themselves are pretty much unique every time you do them, so you need to, I think that's something that you do more within the levels themselves. So we are almost at the end of our 10th year in business, and I think we may have cracked it. I'm pretty sure all of our students, or a lot of our students, sorry, not all of them, that would be incredible. A lot of our students are at that A+ grade. We're going to have a look at our third years. You can see we've got, oh, there's a lot there. I think that was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 third year wizardry students about to graduate with an A+. We don't have any dark arts. Oh, we've got one dark arts student, and in our first years, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's at least 7 there and an A+ for general knowledge, so I think we've done this now. We just need to wait until the end of the year kicks in, and then our average staff happiness should balance out at around about the 65% mark, which would see us complete the level. It's been a really good one. It's been a great learning curve, and I'm starting to kind of realize what works and what doesn't. I had planned to individually increase the wages of all of my staff, but it would be such a long and tedious process. So you can see here that we have a lot of staff here who are middling around the 51 to 60% happiness level. Their energy levels are pretty poor, which means we need to do more with our staff rooms, or make sure that we have more staff, or have a look at the staff scheduling, which is a lot of micromanagement, but could be worth doing if we can make sure that our staff are better spread out. It could also be that I have multiple disciplines amongst my staff, and they are committing to teaching different courses, which is sapping their energy. But here you can see a lot of training demand as well, which means we haven't done as well as we could have done within our training departments. So it could well be that my theory that having your staff trained in multiple professions is failing in a certain way when it comes to these average staff happiness objectives. So it might be worth having our research staff and our private tuition staff trained in multiple disciplines, but having our actual just general teachers trained in the single discipline, and then boosting them up with aerodynamics and maybe the inspirational speaking perk, because that seems to be a really good one for getting our students to increase their learning rate. So here we are at the end of year 10, 68 graduates, 80 carrying on to the new year, and a load of awards. Oh, I never moved my clubs around, so our NAP club's the most popular one. I guess the Nature Club and the Speed Walking Club weren't as popular, but maybe they can't access them. So that's something that I'm going to have to look at if I do plan on continuing. But we have 26 A+ students graduated, and there we have it. Our staff happiness increased by that 1%. We've unlocked the Spiffinmore statue, and we've completed the level. This has been my favourite level by far. I love the setting. It would be nice if there was a day-night cycle so it wasn't so dark all the time. But as we're approaching Halloween, why not do this one? I thought that would be a good idea to do. We're 2 weeks away from Halloween, so I'm a bit early. But I'll be more focused on the Planet Zoo expansion that's coming out as well, if I'm going to be honest. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I had a lot of fun. In a couple of weeks' time, we'll be moving on to whatever level takes our fancy, and I'm going to do it a little bit more in tune with the suggested pathway on the career map, because going to Fluffborough before here, I think, was probably a very bad idea. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.